Another day, another thought. Welcome out to another edition of the Double Touch Show. Hope everyone is doing amazing. As you guys know, I'm RJ here together with my co-host KR. KR, what's up, man?
I'm doing so, man. So
So
good.
so awesome,
So
awesome.
so good. What are you talking about?
Okay. Hey, thanks for everyone that's watching this show. Remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We see that 90% of you aren't subscribed. It would be you would do us a huge favor if you just subscribe, especially the people who've rewatched videos, because if everyone subscribes, we will reach our monetization goal quicker, which would mean that we can put the quality, so we can put more quality or create more quality shows, I have to say, because we have big plans. This is just the start. We're great, you just don't know it yet. Remember to comment. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions as well. Let us know if there's something that we are missing or something that we got wrong, or perhaps something else that you would want us to talk about. Like the show, share the video with your friends, your family, and your friends. We have a very good one for you today. We're going to show you some playlists that we got as well. And of course, before we proceed, I'll just give the short disclaimer. Remember, guys, we are here for entertainment purposes only. If you need life advice, look for not gurus, look for people with a proven track record. Enjoy this show, guys. And yeah, we look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions. KR.
That wasn't the improvisation I expected, but
Where do we begin?
where do we begin? In today's show, guys, we're going to talk about Brett Favre, the slinger of footballs, not Jamaran style. We, we are going to talk about the latest development in the case of Brett Favre and his defamation lawsuits against the latest person who is Shannon Sharpe. Last show we talked about how he closed out the show. He closed out the lawsuit with Pat McAfee. With Pat McAfee also basically giving it up, saying, "I didn't. What I did was all a joke." Even though he's been saying that from the start, maybe Brad wanted him to wanted just to squeeze him a bit. We also in the previous show talked about the filing from Sharpe's lawyers as a motion to dismiss dismiss. And of course, guys, in the show I also talked about slightly a bit about Chat White, Chat White. So, RJ, you have anything to say about this?
Yes, yes. We're gonna talk, as Kara already said, about the Brett Favre's motion to, well, reaction to Shannon Sharpe's motion to dismiss. Brett Favre basically has four main arguments, to a certain extent, things that we have touched on in the previous shows, but in today's show, we're gonna really expand on the topics and on the arguments, because beforehand they were just speculations, and now we have more to discuss. Uh, what's also important to say, maybe, I mean, we have a whole playlist for you guys. We have a playlist of first of all this topic. So Brett Favre case. So that's the Mississippi case that Brett Favre is involved in which he is being alleged to have misappropriated funds. You have the case that he had against Pat McAfee. We also talked about it. That case seems to be over now, as they have settled a couple of weeks ago, perhaps a month ago. You have the current case, which is the Brett Favre versus Shannon Sharpe, and you have another case, Brett Favre versus the the state auditor of Mississippi, Chet White. My mama always says, if you have problem with a lot of people, you're the problem. But maybe this doesn't apply in this particular case. We also have a show. We have various shows, guys. Go check out the playlist. We have a Jamarant playlist. We have a Michael Irving playlist, a Michael Irving versus Marriott playlist, Tiger Woods, you name it. So we invite you, if you haven't done so already, check out the playlist. And yeah, let us know what topics you want us to discuss as well. KR, maybe you can expand on that.
Before I expand, let's start the show.
Bora do show! Bora! Bora do show!
Let's start the show. Guys, RJ is really improvising and throwing the show structure a bit. He's approaching it a bit loose today, but yes, today we have, this is the Michael Irvin. We have about 47 videos on this Michael Irving playlist, and we talk about the early beginnings of him being basically booted of NFL Network's shows because of alleged misconduct at a Marriott hotel. We have a lot of we were following this case. There are no recent updates. So as soon as we have the latest updates, as you know, guys, here at the Double Dot Show, we will update you right away. So guys, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and also like this clip. Anyway, we also have, as Audrey already said, the Brett Favre one. Also 46 videos. And also multiple live shows, or let's call them the podcast, the live podcast editions, where we discuss all the cases. And also a couple of weeks ago, let me see how much is it actually? It's 2 weeks ago. It's not a month. It's 2 to 3 weeks ago. We closed out the show, or the lawsuit of Pat McAfee versus Brett Favre, or Brett Favre versus Pat McAfee. And also our Shannon and Sharpe next, I guess.
No.
Not.
Wait.
Not. As RJ already said, Brett responded to the motion to dismiss, and it wasn't a light response. It wasn't a light response. He did a lot. He did a lot in that response. And guys, we were gonna, let me show you guys. There are a couple of articles discussing this. Lawyers representing Brett Favre and Shannon Sharpe don't seem to be getting along. Brett Favre, a welfare scandal, Shannon Sharpe's motion to dismiss. Well, it says motion of time extension, but it's motion to dismiss, opposed by ex-NFL quarterback. And Favre argues Sharpe barbs differ from Carlson and Meadow. So Favre is incorporating other cases. So he's building towards something to show that this is not at all by chance or by comedic situation. It wasn't the type of banter. It was harmful. Guys, it was very emotional the way Shannon expressed himself on this topic. Oh yeah, RJ, do you have anything to say?
I think we can gradually start discussing the arguments, individual arguments. As KR said, well, the reaction, because I think that they will settle. KR, we talked about this offline. KR doesn't think so. But why do I think that they will settle? I'm not looking at the...
Because you're an optimist. I might be. I might be the one who wants to see the train crash. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe that's a reason. But I mean, if you look at the motion, the legal documents, the court documents, you would think that they are enemies, and maybe they are, because the rumors are that they are enemies, that they have like something like a personal beef with each other.
Mm.
However, at the end of the day, when you go into court, you have to attack. You have to give it everything you've got. But that doesn't mean that outside of court, the lawyers of Favre and Sharp, respectively, are trying to settle this matter in one way, shape, or form. If you remember, Sharp said in his motion to dismiss that it was clear that he wasn't speaking. He was. He wasn't speaking literally. He was speaking. So this was figurative, right?
Maybe we
And
should have taken the same route as Pat. Okay.
yeah, so I mean, Favre even cited a case that had that relates, so a defamation case relating to the January 6th Capitol
Really?
incident. Yeah, incident. I mean,
He's taking it. He's going deep.
yeah,
Is it a hail? No, it's not a hail mary. He's going. He's throwing. He's throwing for a touchdown. Putting in 6th of January in this case,
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to lock and load. But I can continue, Ajay.
Yeah, so we can yeah, so let's say the first argument that Sharp. So let's just start with the first argument. Unless you wanted to touch on something before we start talking about
Oh,
this.
no, well, I wanted to just say that guys, the basically go watch the previous show about this in the playlist. But in that show, we dove into the motion to dismiss by Shannon Sharpe, and it seems to be he's pointing towards it was all not literally, it's hyperbole, it's I'm creating a show, this is a character, things like that in that matter. I'm not reciting word by word. It's just like it's in general what he was trying to convey towards the judge. And what you see is that because of the way, I think the way Pat has expressed himself in his shows, it was easier to settle with Pat, probably because at the end of the day, Pat has been saying from the start, and Pat was all these things Pat was saying was with a smile, like I'm making a joke. So I think Brett realized that he wasn't going anywhere, and also uh, 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 he wouldn't have a lot of ground to stand on. So it's better to settle. And with Shannon went on a rant, a major rant, and an epic one. An epic one that I mean, it's one of the greatest rants ever. By chance, that landed him a lawsuit, but it was a crazy rant. God saying about him stealing from the. He didn't say poor. He said, I can't recall the word he said, from the people without money. It's not, basically he used a synonym for that. But yeah. So right now we're going to discuss the arguments that Sharp used and how Brett's lawyer, I think, tried to counter them and show that this is not totally true. RJ, you have the floor.
Yes, thanks, KR. And it's good to, I think, maybe at the end of the show, because we weren't planning on doing it, but we can talk a little bit about the news as well, that Shannon Sharpe will leave First Take, or not First Take, Undisputed, after the conclusion of the NBA Finals. Maybe it has something to do with this as well, but maybe this is just speculation. We don't know, guys.
What,
Here on
what
the
we
double.
do know, what we do know is Brett disputed the undisputed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, as already mentioned, the as already mentioned, guys, Brett Favre had 4 arguments. The first argument, and this is not in the sequence, but it's just in the it's in the matter of relevancy. The first one we can just get out the way. The first one, because of course Brett Favre is saying that he is not. Brett Favre is saying, or Shannon Sharpe is saying that he was free. He had the freedom of speech, and he used a couple of reasons, a couple of grounds, to base his freedom of speech on. The first one, at least that's a bit irrelevant, is that the statements weren't statements made, let's say, in confidentiality, based on or in court proceedings. So certain claims you make in court proceedings are to remain confidential. Well, that of course is a very formal argument that we can get out the way, because it's clear and evident that is not the case. To go to the second argument is that so Favre is saying that, contrary to what Shannon Sharpe wants the judge to believe and maybe the world to believe, he wasn't speaking as a figure of speech. Remember that, as Kay already mentioned, Favre was speaking very passionate, very emotional, because that's who he is. That's why he is so relatable and likable. And so when he heard it, he said, I can't believe that, Brett Favre stole from the the undeserved, I think is
Undeserved, that's the word, yeah.
Undeserved that he used. And you might think, and so Favre is saying, no, what he said wasn't a figure of speech. The way he formulated the claim is as a statement of fact. And why is it a statement of fact? Because okay, guys, so what if a figure of speech, and you call it rhetoric hyperbole, but a figure of speech, hey, I want to thank you 1,000,000 times. I'm so hungry I can eat a horse. The suitcase weighed a ton. You know that those are figure of speeches. Brett Favre stole from the undeserved.
It's a figure of speech for misappropriation.
Favre is saying it's not a figure of speech, but rather a statement of fact, because it's either true or false. And if something is either true or false, then it's a statement of fact. That's why Favre believes that Shannon Sharpe's comments should be considered a statement of fact and should be judged solely on that. So that's the first part, right? What do you think about that argument, KR? That I mean, I gave you a couple of examples of figure of speeches. You know, she's as old as the hills. I mean, but if you compare the examples I gave
Hey
as
man, and maybe that's a new. He's introducing new ones. Stealing from the undeserved. That could be. It would be a figure of speech for maybe getting some extra money.
yeah,
Who
found.
knows? Who knows? But I think it's a wild way to suggest it's a figure of speech. But hey man,
Yeah.
hey man,
But
I think to be honest, I think Brett's lawyers made a good point over you.
yeah, yeah, it does seem like I feel that way as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you also have to look at the context and a lot of things. So we're gonna talk about the other arguments as well, because the second argument pertains more to the context. So we'll dive more into that. But this particular argument, I mean, when you say someone stole, then I mean it's either true or false,
Hey, you
right?
might get got in the
Maybe.
street if you steal. You might get got.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
putting a sentence on Brett. But okay,
yeah, yeah. Now, of course, context plays a big role, guys.
yes, that is true.
Context play a big role. And so the second argument that Brett Favre made, the second argument, guys, relates to the opinion, whether the opinion was fact based, yes or no. I don't know if you guys remember, Kara, I don't know if you remember as well, but the moderator of the show opened the show saying that Brett Favre was being suspected, and I'm paraphrasing, or no, that Brett Favre is involved in a case relating to misappropriation of funds. Now, she doesn't say in what way Brett Favre is allegedly involved. She doesn't say in what way. Now, misappropriation of funds is something we talked about. It's not necessarily stealing. We talked about it in a previous show. Go check it out, guys. To the left, to the left, to the left, guys. Oh.
Which left? Which left? Which is the left side?
By the time you figure it out, you've been left behind, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but go check it out, guys.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it. Yeah,
yeah.
Kara?
By the way, I think that what you said was true. Jenny Taft from the Undisputed show. She's also leaving, by the way.
Was it Jenny Taft, though? It wasn't Jenny Taft that introduced that show.
No?
No, it was another moderator.
It's another. Okay, so then it was a replacement for Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay, but I remember that Jenny is the usual.
Yeah, she was I don't know if she was original, but I really liked her. And then I remember she got pregnant and went on leave, and I don't think she ever returned. She's been doing sports, but more on the sidelines, going to games and things of that nature.
Let me see. Is it Jen Halley?
Yeah, Jen. Yeah.
Jen.
So it's almost the same, but it's a different person.
By the way, call this, guys. Why, guys? Why do all the moderators? Just a side note. Why do all the moderators start with a J? Joy Taylor, Jenny Taft, Jan Halley. Wow. Let us know in the comments. I have no idea why they start with a J, but continue, Audrey.
Yes. Um,
Well, yeah. By the way, to close my statement,
mhm.
yeah. So I do remember that she opens up by actually stating the general topic that they are going to talk about, and in that statement, she didn't really say about stealing anything. She just referred to uh, I don't recall it word by word, but it was I think something about moving, getting paid or something like that. It was. It wasn't stealing. That I do know. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. Um, so what he's saying is that the intro doesn't involve stealing. It doesn't use the word stealing. It says breaking news: Brett Favre has been uh, uh, or at least reports have found that Brett Favre might be involved or is involved. I think that it said is involved in a case relating to misappropriation of funds in Mississippi. Now, is involved according to Brett Favre, and Shannon Sharpe is saying, based on that, I made my comment. But I made my comment based on the statement that you misappropriated funds. What Favre is saying, though, is that, hey, the intro does say misappropriation of funds. But first of all, that's just part of the case. The case is more complex. The case is way more complex. There are more things that play a role, more factors that play a role in this particular matter. And not only that, you didn't say that you can't believe or that you're not surprised that I'm speaking as Brett Favre now, that I misappropriated funds, because at least that I could accept. But you changed misappropriation to stealing, while the only claim that was made at the start of the show was that I am involved in the case. What does involved mean? Does involvement mean that I will be held liable? Brett Favre is saying that that is not the case. He's saying that his name is being mentioned together with the other 60 something, I think it was 64 defendants in the Mississippi case relating to misappropriation of funds, but that there are no criminal case against him relating to theft or stealing or anything related to. Furthermore, he's saying that there is no decision, no verdict of a judge stating that he stole or misappropriated either. So what he's claiming is that, contrary to what Sharpe wants to claim, which is that he based his opinion on statements of the newspaper, Favre believes that he did not actually base it on, or at least he might have based it on newspaper, but he added a different twist to it, which should constitute as defamation, according to Brett Favre. Again, I find this argument a good argument. I don't know how the judge will see it. I'm not familiar with legal, let's say the legal criteria in the United States. So it's not my place to say how the judge will look at it. But the argument in itself, I find, is a very valid argument. Would you agree with that statement or with my point of view, KR?
Before I agree or disagree, guys, let's do some housekeeping.
That's a cliffhanger right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget to hit the like button down below if you like the cliffhanger.
And if you don't, hit it twice. Well,
Hit
three
it,
times.
hit it twice, and it will say double touch show, double touch show, double touch show. Guys, it really helps us if you just like the video, guys. We're trying to spread the word. I guess the gospel. Remember to follow us on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, at the Double Touch Show. Guys, about 95% of you have been watching the video, our videos, our clips quite often. But we also see that, wait a second, 95% of you are not subscribed, who've been watching our videos, rewatching, reoccurring viewers. It really helps us if you subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate it. By the way, we want to welcome also to welcome all our new subscribers. It helps us to reach our goal. RJ, we have a goal, right?
Yes, we want to reach 1,000 subs by the end of June of this year. So we have about 3 weeks to go. A lot of people rewatch our shows. About 90% aren't subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything, guys, to subscribe to the channel, but it really helps us a lot because it helps us to get monetized and thereby making it easier to produce better quality shows and more frequent shows as well. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already.
Yeah. So also don't forget, once you subscribe, don't forget to press on the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest videos from Double Touch Show. And as we always say at the Double Touch Show, don't forget to share it with your friends, families, the judge, your lawyer, and also the one who you're facing against in the lawsuit, your temporary enemy, so you can distract them and win the lawsuit.
Well,
Let's continue with the show.
yes, and KR, sometimes you don't have to do anything. They will distract themselves.
Yeah, give them enough rope.
If yeah, anyway, I was gonna make it more explicit, but let's proceed. So KR, I asked you a question. My question to you was, what do you think of that statement? The statement that Sharp actually went further than so his claims went further than what was stated in the news, in the media, and in the opening of the moderator of Undisputed.
Before I answer your question, just so I can understand, if because the thing is this: in the case of Pat, and I love Pat, but I think Pat also said like stole, right?
Pat used
Or in a comedic way, not in an emotional way. But he also said stole. But
Pat, but Pat also used the word allegedly.
okay, so that would have saved.
I mean, it's a combination of factors. So using allegedly in itself isn't always,
Don't save
enough.
you guys. Don't defame people and say allegedly right after.
He stole from his mama, allegedly. I mean, doesn't work like that. But I mean, all the various factors play a role, right? All the facts and circumstances of a case. So I think, and you could see that the setup of the show is way more informal, more joking around. So I'm referring to the Pat McAfee show. It's way more, boys will be boys making jokes. So it's a different environment as well. And so I think in his case, in Brad's case, in Pat's case, it was a bit easier to prove it. But
Yeah.
in
Right.
Sharp's case, he did say, however, in the case. So and that's why I think that You shouldn't always take the short. I mean, if you take a segment, then you can crucify anybody, right? But if you take the whole context, there were points in the show where moments in the show where Shannon Sharpe said, if the story is true, if the
Mm,
story is true.
if
So
the story is true, so you gotta. So let me put my glasses on, my lawyer glasses on. So what you're trying to say, RJ, is that there might be an opening. Is this the opening that Shannon has?
that's definitely something that Shannon has at
Why
the,
didn't they use it yet then?
because another thing that
Or
another,
they're keeping it tucked.
no, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't, and they shouldn't keep it. No, they shouldn't. They're not keeping it tucked. They will probably. You should use everything from the get go. Remember, this is not the case. This is the motion to dismiss. So
Mm,
the response to the motion to dismiss. So it would make sense uh, that Shannon would use every argument, and I do believe that he did in one way, shape, or form. But remember, another thing that Pat is stating is that the his statements got cut as shorts and
oh,
reels,
this is
and
this
that,
is the Andrew Tate stuff.
yeah, and that basically went viral. That clip went viral, and I believe that it was even posted on. Guys, let us know. I think it was also posted on Sharp's page, so he posted it himself. So so we can talk about the consequences, and even if he did it, maybe it was on his page, maybe it was on the undisputed page, but it did go viral. I saw it a couple of times on my reel.
Yeah, but but to answer your question, because the question is, did Sharp went beyond what these articles said? Hard, hard. If you look at it pure from a fact point of view, if you really take what he said as the truth, as in it wasn't comedic or it wasn't hyperbolic or hyperbole, or it wasn't a dramatic a dramatization of the statement, then you can say, yeah, he went beyond what he should have done. So they might have a point there, but it's all context, right? It's how you take it. Did the people start believing that after his rant that Brett really stole? That's the big question. Or was it all? Do people believe Shannon by his word, like he's the Sherlock Holmes of broadcasters?
Yeah, I don't know if that is the case. Well, if you think that Shannon is the new Sherlock Holmes, well, it does fit in the current narrative nowadays. Now maybe they can transition this new Sherlock Holmes with the new James Bond, where they will try to save the new Ariel. But what what
Sherlock Holmes went black. That will be boycotted. Yo, this is crazy. People boycott everything these days. Anyway, continue.
yeah. But
Revealed 200 years later, Sherlock Holmes wasn't really white. He was a black man living in.
identifying as a, yeah.
The picture, you see a picture of him.
He wasn't smoking on a pipe either, but
Well, let's hope that he wasn't smoking the other pipe.
well, let's see. I mean, I hope that black producer picks it up if that ever happened, because they would portray it the right way, black successful Sherlock Holmes. If you give this to a wrong producer, they'll call him Sherlock Holmes. And
We need a
and
cut, man. We need a cut because this is our idea, man.
no. Well, if
I
the
mean,
wrong producer,
if you
if
don't
the
want to cut, that's your problem. Producer, whoever picks this up, watch this show. Give me my money.
uh,
Otherwise, I'll go Brett Favre on you guys.
if you let one of these producers, I mean, prejudiced producers take over, they'll
Oh,
call they'll call it Sherlock Holmes, and we don't need that in our lives right now.
yeah, yeah,
But to
yeah.
get back to the story, I think it's a very, as I said, and as you also said,
It's a
it's
good
the
argument.
context. The context plays a big role, major role, but in itself, both the let's say, contrary to the Pat McAfee, the reaction of the lawyers in the Pat McAfee case, motion to dismiss case, I find their response in this case against Shannon Sharpe more convincing. Seems like they have a better footing. They have more to
Of course,
use.
they have more. Yo, I once said in a lawsuit. Well, from a mama's basement. Sometimes people
That,
give.
that that's the lawsuit where you got evicted.
Hey, don't share my background, man. They might try to try to try to look up all the information on me being evicted. But I once said in a lawsuit that some people are just cannon fodder. They will keep giving you. They keep giving. And I think the state, the problem is, and I think the problem in the case of, and I'm talking about the case of Pat McAfee. Pat has been saying the whole. You know that, like you said, the Pat. You know that it's a funny show. That they were trying to be funny, and here in this case, I mean, if they had a beef before, this is the perfect moment to strike because it was very emotional. It seemed like it was coming from the heart.
Yes, definitely from the art, or from the sleeve where the heart is. But let's see. I mean, it's very persuasive. Uh, so that's the third argument, right? The fourth argument is more a formal one. It's more. It's also a formal one. I have to say. Also has to do with timing. Apparently, in law, and this is so. I think we can just move on because the two main uh, arguments is what we discussed. The other one had to do with giving Sharp time to react or to do something. Um, and law, guys, in U.S. law, I know that you have certain deadlines, certain procedures. So you have to notify people. Some you can, for example, break a contract just because someone immediately after someone has defaulted. Sometimes you need to give that person a reasonable period to rectify a shortcoming. And if that person doesn't comply, then you can proceed to sue or to do things of that nature. But oftentimes you have to give a warning first. And the fourth argument of Favre seems to be geared towards such a rule of that sort. But yeah, not really relevant or interesting to talk about. So I think, KR, um, we can proceed with the Fox show. And the reason why I've been thinking, and I said it jokingly at the beginning of the show,
Mm.
that maybe this played a role in the termination of the agreement. with Shannon Sharpe because they're gonna buy out Shannon Sharpe, maybe. And why do I think this? And maybe this can function as a segue, and you can share your thoughts and then take over this part. But you mentioned it, and I've mentioned it a couple of times. Brett Favre is Shannon Sharpe is a very passionate person, very emotional person. He wears his heart on his sleeve, probably because he doesn't have room in his chest due to all the muscles. But but I can imagine. So I like him on his new podcast, right? That's the podcast Club
Well,
Shay.
yeah.
Wonder what's gonna happen with that.
He's
But
taking it with him, from what I heard.
that's that's good because at the beginning of every show he says, "Welcome to Club Shay. I'm your host and the proprietor of Club Shay." And I always asked myself, why would he say that? Afterwards, when I found out that Fox owned, or not owned, but that Fox
Produced it, probably.
produced it or was the platform or whatever, I was like, oh, that's why. But it was very smart of him to keep on saying, I'm your host and the proprietor of Club Shay. So the intellectual owner of Club Shay. That was a very smart move of him.
Mm.
But yeah, so when I see how he is, the success that he has booked on Club Shay, his podcast, big names, Deion Sanders, Steve Harvey, Tabitha Brown, Timbaland.
He had Neo, I think,
He had Neo. He had Neo
last week.
last week. This
He even
you
had.
can
Oh, no, continue.
you can see that he really likes that space. And when you're on a debate show, first of all, with Skip Bayless, he's a very controversial person, very tiresome person on himself. I mean, I respect his hustle. I think Skip Bayless works out every day. So I mean, you don't get where he gets just by being just by luck. But he works very hard, and he has the respect of Stephen A. Smith as well, which also says a lot in my opinion. Because Stephen A. Smith says, I don't agree with everything he says, but I can respect him, right? But I think when you're in that environment, who knows what the conversations behind closed doors was, based on this Brad Favre case. It's like, guys, you're gonna set me up. You know I'm emotional. You can give me title like this. You know I'll go off. I don't know who pays what, but I think that I don't think that the Favre case in itself caused the termination, but I don't think that it helped either. Curious to see how you think of it.
Yeah, to start, yes, he's leaving. He's leaving FS1 undisputed, and I think it had more to do with the chemistry between Skip and Shannon, because it seems to, when a marriage, it's they started a marriage because of financial reasons. It was not out of love, and you could always see, and it wasn't obvious, but there were some points in the whole history of undisputed where Skip was throwing shots, light shots, light. Sometimes people give you light shots, and Shannon isn't the one who would respond, because he understood the chain of command of the show. That's what I was thinking. But I think it went totally south earlier this year when he disrespected him in the what was related, was it related to Tom he said he acted like Shannon was a bum, like he didn't win nothing, like he didn't wear a gold jacket, like he didn't win 3 Super Bowls. He acted like Shannon was a bum, and that was the point. I think that it all hit the fan.
Yeah.
And at that time, I knew that I was surprised that he was still doing the show, but I think he had to get his business in order to announce later that he's going to leave the show. But it's clear that at that time I was like, jeez, the amount of disrespect from Skip. And guys, I have nothing against Skip. Like RJ says, it's hardworking man, but Skip is just a journalist. He hasn't reached any level of competition in sports. Man, you was a water boy, man. To talk crazy about a golden jack holder like that, I was like, nah, Skip, you're out of pocket. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people thought Skip was out of pocket. Oh, it was about the Mar Hamlin. That's when it happened. Yes, the Mar Hamlin. I thought he was out of pocket. The only thing Shannon asked is, can you remove the tweet or something like that? And then it really spilled into something totally different, which bears the question: if this is how it spilled into the show, and this is relating to what you said earlier, but not directly. Did they even like each other outside of the show? I don't think so. I don't. This was the if it reached this point where it spills into the show, probably outside of the show. But guys, if he was disrespect, let us know in the comments what you think about that. I think Shannon didn't like him because Shannon is a great a friend of LeBron, and the guy was disrespecting LeBron nonstop. I've never seen until the latest playoffs. I saw him give LeBron a couple of props, a couple, but
with light blows.
light blows. But he always tries to take down LeBron. Guys, I'll be honest. I'm a Jordan guy, but it's hard to say that LeBron isn't dominant in this time. It's hard not to say. It's like if you say, I don't think there is the greatest of all time. I think I would basically categorize it by era, because I think Jordan would be successful in this era because he would have played differently, but still be successful. A guy can always be successful throughout the eras, but I would say in this era, LeBron is the best. You cannot deny it. It's like saying LeBron is soft, but he's the best. That tells you a lot about the time we're in.
Yeah.
But okay.
Well, another thing, because you mentioned that you mentioned, so it were there were two main incidents, and with regards to your statement that they weren't friends or they didn't like each other outside of the show, I think that that's a fair statement, but that made the show great. And Shannon is friends with a lot of players, a lot of the people who Skip bashes on a on a
On a daily basis.
on a daily basis. So you mentioned LeBron, but of course Shannon is that dude, Uncle Shay.
Uncle
He's the
Shay.
uncle, right? So
Not my uncle, but okay.
I can imagine as well that, when he goes home, all the people, his friends, are like, man, how can you work with Skip? How can you work with Skip? And he's grateful for the opportunity. You mentioned the Hamlin situation. That was awkward. That was an awkward
Yeah,
show
very awkward, yeah.
because Shannon didn't show up. I think the guy fell down on a Monday night game. On Tuesday, he didn't show. So Shannon Sharpe didn't come to work. And on Wednesday, he said some people might have wondered why I didn't come to work. Well, Skip made some statements that I didn't agree with. Hopefully, you'll take it back. Skip's like, time out. You ever know Skip for backing down?
Yeah.
Time out. Time out.
In the middle of his statement,
Yeah.
we didn't even let him finish, and that's what. Yeah.
But that was. Yeah, continue.
No. During the statement, he stopped. He broke. He said time. Yeah, like you said, time out, and then it went south after that, right? He
Yeah,
said,
because
You don't even let me finish, Skip. You know what? I don't have a pen, but he threw down the pen. Okay.
Yeah. You were, yeah. So that was definitely one. And the other time was when they were talking about Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, let's be honest, guys. Guys, let's be honest.
I don't have my.
I
Where's my
like I
phone?
like Tom
Wallet.
Brady. Tom Brady is undeniably uh well
The goat.
the GOAT.
The
The,
goat. You cannot
but I
deny.
but I always find it unfair to call someone in the NFL the GOAT,
It's
because the quarterback always gets the praise. But I mean, you have some great players that dominate their positions, right? And that also led to one of the or at least one of the other main clashes between the two was when they were talking about Tom Brady, and
yeah.
Shannon was saying he's playing trash. He's not playing good. Look at his numbers. And Skip says, yeah, he played trash yesterday. He's like, no, he plays trash. He's been playing trash the whole season. And Skip said again, wait a minute, guys. Wait, I want to pause the show, and I'm paraphrasing, because this man has been trying to get Tom Brady out of the NFL for 6 years. For 6 years. Now they're at year 7. So they're terminating it after 7 years. Back then, he said for 6 years. And insinuated that he was jealous of him. Man, Shannon was like, wait a minute. You make it seem, as you said, you make it seem like I was a bum.
That was crazy, yo.
Why am I jealous just because I express my opinion? Why is it that every time I express my opinion, I am jealous? You make it seem like I'm jealous. So I think there was a it doesn't matter if they were friends or not, or whether they liked each other or not outside of work. They made for a good partnership. But if you look at Shannon Sharpe's current endeavors, he has the Club Shay Shay podcast, which is a more positive, lighter show. He also has the his drink. It's a cognac, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which also is something positive. He's always showing how the drink is being, distributed and introduced in different stores. So when you're doing that, right, you're also more in the ownership space. It's more positive space. I can imagine that when you see it things popping over here, and you remember that tomorrow you have to go and sit across from Skip Bayless, you'll be like, 7 years is enough.
Yeah, yeah. And also, to be honest, I do agree on that, and I think the debate form is dying out. It will die out because the constant negativity. I said this long time ago that, and you can attest to this, RJ. The Pat McAfee platform structure is the future of sports commentary.
Yeah.
I said it before they signed with ESPN. Said it years before.
Yeah.
It
Years,
was
really years before. Yeah.
yeah. I said it because the thing is this: I was watching Undisputed a lot, and then I started watching Pat McAfee. I was like, "Well, you know what? This is more relaxed, and the guys are talking. They're not trying to press each other. I don't care." And also, by the way, Undisputed was 80% Cowboys.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to watch discussions and debates on Cowboys every day, or debates on LeBron? It was daily, man. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the fact ESPN signed the fact ESPN signed Pat McAfee shows you that they also are seeing maybe a shift. They're trying something else because the format of debating on a daily show, no one wants to watch that anymore, man. We want to see some fun. But okay,
Yeah,
let's see
it's
what
lighter, a bit
it's lighter.
entertainment, comedy, and it helps against liability.
Yes. Guys, if you hear the statement, understand that statement. Understand that statement.
Yeah, yeah.
Understand it. It's not a statement in general. It's also double touch. What okay?
Yes. Hey guys.
Anything you want to say?
No, we talked about the case. We talked about the Shannon Sharpe's departure from FS1. Curious to see where Shannon Sharpe's gonna land. I really like the guy.
He's gonna land on his feet.
He's gonna land on his feet for sure, and a lot of people wants him to do good, so he'll definitely get the support he needs. But still, yeah, all the best to Shannon Sharpe. I would say, both in the court cases and in the court case and in his future endeavors. Um,
And
I
to
think
skip, and to skip, I'm curious who will be sitting across him. I
what
think I think it's someone who will say this. Anyway,
I think it wouldn't surprise me if Skip retires.
you should. It's time to go, man. No one cares about you.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Skip retires.
I don't know how old he is, but
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Sometimes but he looks good for his. Well, let me see how old he is first. Because
for his age, and he's 50.
I think he's. So
He's in
if you
his
ask me, I think he's around. He should be around 70. That's what I think.
70?
That's
Is
what I
Skip
think.
70?
71, man. I told you.
Are you crazy? Is
Yeah.
Skip 70?
I told you, man.
Hey man, Skip is looking good for his age, man. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. But at the
Not
end,
gonna lie.
he's had a good career, a long career.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of him, whether you agree with him or not, he knows how to get views. He knows how to make his bosses happy. He knows how to keep your
Seven-
attention, to get your attention. When Stephen A. Smith and Skip departed, I didn't think that I wasn't sure what would happen because I was accustomed to seeing those two sitting across from one another. But they both landed on their feet. I think the Undisputed was better than the more entertainment than First Take because First Take then had Max Kellerman. That was I mean, Max is good, but Max is a open platform type of guy, not someone that you should put against Stephen A. Smith. Some of those takes were wild. And
Max was wild. Yo,
and Skip,
much, man.
yeah, and Skip. I didn't think that Skip, but I honestly thought that Stephen A. would find the Skip way faster than Skip would find a Stephen A. And Shannon Sharpe is by no way, shape, or form a Stephen A. Smith, but he does bring good character. He brings a good opposition to Skip Bayless. And that made for a very, very, very good show. And I think now with 71, it's going to be 72 this year. Skip, it wouldn't surprise me. Skip says, I don't want to do this again.
Time to go, man.
Yeah.
Time to go. But he looks good. If you he's 71. If you say this guy is 71, I wouldn't guess it. I thought he was in his 60s, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes. Hey, guys, thanks to you guys. Thanks for your attention today. Thanks for tuning in to today's live show. Whatever your thoughts are, please let us know in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us to get to our monetization goals, which in turn will help us upgrade the production of our shows.
Wow. Infotainment.
Remember as well to like the video and share it with your friends, your family, and of course your enemies and your frenemies. And check us out on our socials at Double Touch Show on Facebook and Instagram. As KR always says at the end of the show.
But I can only show you the door.
And behind that door might be a settlement. Let's see if Shannon will get that settlement and close out this situation and also start with the brand new slate.
Yes, yes. Maybe it's for the best. Just a business decision.
Yeah, just give it up, Shan. And
Yes.
and Brett as well, because Brett seems to be powering through right now. Pause.
Yes, yes. Hey, but yeah, with that being said, it's been a pleasure to serve you once more, and we'll see each other in the next one. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.